We're Mike and Cory Wise. We've been married for a little over 14 years.
So we met in the 6th grade when we walked into homeroom the first day and we were sharing desks together.
Yeah, it was actually, I got moved right behind you. So I was sitting behind you in social studies class. I think I pulled your hair or something like that. But yeah, that's my very first memory.
He proposed in his first year of college. It was right before Christmas. And we had gone to the Festival of Lights with some friends, which was at the zoo, and it was all lit up and it was magical and it was so pretty with all the twinkling lights, and I was dressed all cute, of course. And except, oh yeah, he didn't actually propose that night. I just thought he did. No, he really proposed in this overlook that was looking over the city of Cincinnati, and we were just sort of going on this walk hand in hand and talking about things and life, and we got to this little bench and we sat down and we were staring over the city, and that's when I could tell he was really, really, really nervous, and he was sweating. Shaking and sweating, and he kept giving me these little like chicken peck kisses like on my head between like every sentence before he was finally able to spit out, "Will you marry me?"
A lot of planning went into that, and the execution was maybe not what I quite expected. But here we are, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. I did say yes.
Time in our marriage, we've been through a lot of things together. We've been together for almost 25 years, or at least that's how long we've known each other. And a lot of ups and downs, but I think one of the things that stands out to me, you know, for work, at one point I had a 3-month stint where I had to go over to Europe, and I was gone for 3 months. And it doesn't sound maybe as bad as some long-term or long-distance relationships can be, but we just had a new baby. This was Easton. He was our 4th. So he was less than a year old when I left, and maybe the hardest part was about a month after I left, Cory called me up and let me know that she had fallen and broken her wrist. And so that, just being separated from her and knowing that she was hurting and struggling and not being able to be there for her physically was just, you know, one of the most excruciating things that I remember feeling, and just made it so much better to get home and just be back together, because I felt like, you know, that was just a part of me that was being wrenched because I knew how much trouble she was having.
We really saw God working in just every little thing. We began to appreciate time with each other much more. We had these dates that we would do via Skype. It was noon for me every day, and it was much later in the day for him. But I was looking forward to that every day. We had this designated time together where we would just talk and tell each other about our days and the things that we were doing. And then at night, which is when we would normally do the talking when he was home, and I felt myself very lonely. All the kids are in bed and it's quiet. And that's when I really find myself just diving into my Bible studies, and I was just reading and studying and really just clinging to my relationship with God during that time, because I was really missing that connection with Mike. And so God was able to use this time and this quiet to really speak to me and to work in me, and to just teach me all kinds of things about myself, about our marriage, about him, about what he could do. And he just sustained me, and the loneliness and the sadness and the being apart all seemed much more manageable the more I spent time in the Word and the more I spent time reading and just working through that with God.
Yeah, it's a funny example of how, you know, God really uses those troughs to shape you in ways that you wouldn't expect. You know, you think about all the difficulty that comes from you know, going through a difficult experience and being separated, you know, physically from the person that you care most about in this world. And, you know, God used that to really deepen our relationship with him, and not only that, I mean, I think really to make our marriage stronger because of it. And he came back, and, you know, it's been I think a closeness that we have that we didn't have before that, and I certainly really appreciate the fact that we were able to develop that, and that God used that time to bless us in that way. So when I think about what has been our most romantic moment over the last 14 years of marriage, or even 20 years of dating, one that stands out to me is a vacation that we took a couple of years ago, where we were able to leave the kids with family and get away, and we took a trip down to Florida and spent some time in a bed and breakfast that was right on the beach, and we were able to disconnect from pretty much everything and just every morning go out and hang out on the beach and enjoy the peace and the quiet that often you don't get to enjoy when you have 5 kids at home. And that to me was just a time of reconnecting and remembering who we are apart from the kids, that we have this relationship that transcends the rest of the family, and that God specifically gave that to us as a blessing. And so sometimes it really is important to get away and to remember those things, because it's easy to get caught up in the pace of life and all of the things that are going on, the changing of diapers, the making of dinner, going off to work every day. But just being able to reconnect like that for even just a few days was a remarkable experience, and I think really benefited both of us.
Oh.
Stole my answer. Okay. You answered it well, that's fine. That worked for both of us. One piece of advice I would give is to make sure that you have time for each other to be friends. I think that has been one of the things that has really sustained Mike and I for the last 14 years of our marriage, and even the 20 years that we've been together since we were dating, is that we were friends first. We could laugh together, we could play together, we could be silly together. And I think it's really important, especially when you have kids, at the end of the day, to be able to take off the mom and the dad hat and to just be who you are, and to be able to be friends and to like each other. Because there are some times where circumstances aren't great and you don't like your circumstances and you don't like what's going on, but if you can look at the person next to you and genuinely like them. I mean, love you, I love you. We have to love you. But liking you in the moment is different than loving you in the moment. And so I think it's really important to spend time cultivating that friendship so that you do like each other and like spending time together and want to spend time together. So that's been really important for us.